Hey guys, today we are going to learn how to multiply with polynomials. So last time we learned how to add and subtract, and today we are going to learn how to multiply. So when multiplying polynomials, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply each term in the first polynomial by each term in the second polynomial. So this is what we call the distributive property. So essentially we're distributing each term to every other term. And then if we can, we're going to combine any like terms. So for example, here I have a monomial, or one term, times a trinomial, three terms. And so this A needs to times all of the other letters. So I would do A times B, I would need to do A times C, and I would need to do A times D. And some people, especially if you're kind of a visual person, like to draw like little rainbows. So to do A times B, A times C, A times D. So we're just distributing that letter through. So let's start off with some where we're just going to practice doing one term or a monomial into a binomial or a trinomial. So this 7 needs to times everything on the inside. So I need to do 7 times 2m squared. And I'm going to write out all of this work. And then I also need to do 7 times 5. So if I simplify that, 7 times 2m squared, I would times the numbers, so I get 14m squared, and then 7 times 5 is 35. And then these are not like terms, so we can't combine them, so we're done. So really not too bad when you have those littler ones. Okay, let's try another one. This time I have a negative on it, so I need to be careful with my signs, but I need to do negative 3 times 8m squared. And then I need to do negative 3 times negative 4m. Well, negative 3 times 8 is a negative 24m squared. And then negative 3 times negative 4 is going to turn to a positive 12. And then m. And then these are both m's, but because this is an m squared and this is just an m, they're not like terms, so we can't combine them. So remember, it has to have the same exponent as well. Okay. Let's do a trinomial this time. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it 3 times. So I'm going to do 9 times 4a squared, and then 9 times negative a, and then 9 times 2. So times the numbers together, 9 times 4 is 36, so we get 36a squared. 9 times negative a will be a negative 9a, so we'll have a minus 9a next. And then 9 times 2 is 18, so we'll have a plus 18. And then looking through, we have an a squared, an a, and then our constant term. So none of these are like terms either, so we're just done. Okay, one more where we have a trinomial we're timesing it through. I'm going to do 3a times 12, and then 3a times 5a, and then 3a times a negative a squared. Okay, so first one, 3a times 12, well 3 times 12 is 36, so we get 36a. And then on this one, we have 3a times 5a, so let's just do the numbers first. 3 times 5 is 15. But then when you times variables together, a times a is going to be a squared. So what you're really doing is you're adding the exponents there, which this would be a power of 1 and a power of 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And then this last term, we get 3 times, this is like a negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 is just negative 3. But then a times a squared, this is like a power of 1. I'm going to get 1 plus 2 is 3. So we get a to the power of 3. So this one was positive, so we'll put a plus there. And then this one was minus. So our polynomial answer is 3a plus 15a squared minus 3a cubed. And then remember, we do like it in descending form. So far, all of our answers have just been descending as we're writing them. This one's backwards. We want to do the biggest power first. So I'm going to do negative 3a to the power of 3, then the power of 2, so our 15a squared, and then our 36a. So we're going power of 3, power of 2, power of 1. Go down for your descending form. So then just again another note, remember when you're multiplying your variables that you add the exponents. So a times a squared would be a cubed. And we don't write the power of 1s, but they're there. Okay. Let's try a couple more complicated ones. I don't know if we'll do all of these just for sake of time, but on this one we've got an x squared y in the front. It's still going to work the same way. Think of this as one term and I'm timesing it into this term. So I'm going to have x squared y, and then I'm timesing it by an x squared. Then I'm also going to times it into this guy, so that I have x squared y times a negative y squared. So because we have multiple variables, you're just going to match the variables up. I'm going to do x squared times x squared. So look at the exponents. 2 plus 2 is 4, so I'm going to have an x to the power of 4. And then we just have this y. It doesn't have any other y's to times with, so it's just going to stay a y. And then on this one, we don't have any other y's. We're just going to keep the x squared, but I have a y to the 1 times a negative y squared. So adding the exponents, we get 1 plus 2 is 3. And then we do have that negative. I'm just going to write it out in the front here. So looking at these, even though they both have x's and y's, they're not considered like terms. Since this is a power of 4, this is only a power of 2. This y is a power of 1, and this is a power of 3. So they have to match exactly in order to add or subtract them. So we're just going to stop there. We can't combine this xy with this xy. Are you guys intimidated by that one? Let's just do one more of these because there's kind of a lot on here. Let's do number 8. This one has a negative in front, so we always want to be careful with those negatives. We're going to take this entire term and times it into this entire term. So we're going to have a negative 5xy squared, and then I'm timesing it by a negative x cubed y. And then we're going to repeat. I'm going to do this whole term into this entire term. So I'll have the negative 5xy squared times the 4xy cubed. So I know it looks messy, but just break it down and do just the numbers. So I'm going to have negative 5, and then this is like a negative 1. Negative 5 times negative 1 is a positive 5. Those two negatives turn positive. Now let's do our x's. This is like an x to the 1, and then I have an x cubed. So 1 plus 3 is 4. So I'm going to have an x to the 4th. And then this is like a power of 1 on the y as well. So I'm going to have y squared times y to the 1. I get 2 plus 1 is 3. So when I multiplied those, it turned into a positive 5x to the 4th y cubed. Now let's do our second term. So looking at the numbers first, I have a negative 5 times 4 is a negative 20. And then let's do our x's. This would be like an x to the power of 1 and an x to the power of 1. So x times x is x squared. Now let's look at our y's. Y squared times y cubed. Well, 2 times 3 is 5. So we get y to the 5th. And so that would be our answer. Again, these x's have different exponents and these y's have different exponents. So they're not like terms. We cannot combine them. So that would be your answer. So 5x to the 4th y cubed subtract 20x squared y to the 5th. So if you guys want, you can practice these other ones on your own, but I'm not going to do them just for the sake of time in this video. Okay. Let's look at what happens when you have a binomial times a binomial. This one starts to get a little bit messier because now I have two things that need to times into two other things. So there's two different methods that I'm going to show you. On this one, we're going to do the FOIL method. So I'm going to write this. FOIL is an acronym. So F stands for first, O stands for outside. Let's see if I can write. I stands for inside, and L stands for last. So that's going to kind of give you an order to follow while you're doing these. So we're going to do first times first, outside times outside, inside times inside, last times last. Really though, I don't think too much about what these words stand for. I just get kind of used to drawing the little rainbows. But here is my first term in this set, and here's my first term in this set. I'm going to do first times first. So I'm going to have n times n. And then we're going to do outsides. So here's our outside terms. N times 5. Then we're going to do the inside terms. These two are on the inside. So we're going to do 2 times n. And then our last. This is the last in this set, and this is the last in this set. So we're going to do 2 times 5. And if you follow that pattern, everything from this group is timesing everything inside this group. So it gives you a good order to follow. So once you have it all times, you just need to finish multiplying. So here I have n times n. Remember, that's like a power of 1 and a power of 1. That's going to become a power of 2. And then n times 5 is just 5n. We usually write the number first. 2 times n is 2n. And then 2 times 5 is 10. So on this one, we do have some like terms here. These are both just n's. So right now everything was positive, so it's like we're adding everything. I can add 5 n's and 2 n's. 5 plus 2 is 7. So I have 7 n's. So if I want to write this in the correct format, we're going to combine those to just be a 7n, and then in descending order, I'm going to do the n squared first, and then the 7n, and then our constant term, 10. And that would be your answer. Okay, so that's the FOIL method. Let's do one more with the FOIL method. So we do first times first, so n times n, and then outside to outside, n times 9, and then inside to inside, 4 times n, and last to last, so 4 times 9. So let's multiply each of those. N times n is n squared, n times 9 is 9n, 4n, and then 4 times 9 is 36. And then again, if they're all positive, we just put pluses there. But just like the last one, we do have those like terms. And you'll notice with the binomials like this, you are usually going to have terms where you can combine them. So let's do that. I have 9n plus 4n is 13n. And then just make sure you're descending again. So we want the n squared in the front, plus the 13n, and then plus the 36 at the back. And that's your answer. Okay, so that's the FOIL method. Again, first, outside, inside, last. That's the order you're going to go when you're distributing. The other method I'm going to do is what we call the box method. So I'll just write box here on the side. The box method is just like it sounds. We're going to be drawing a box. So how you're going to do it is you're going to do however many terms you need for rows and columns. So I need a 2 by 2 box. So I'm going to do 2 columns and 2 rows. It doesn't matter which one you do is the column versus the row. You just need to keep these two together. So I'm going to do the 3x and the 2 going down. And then let's do the 5x and the 1 along the top. And you can put the little pluses in between if you want. Then this is just kind of a visual way to organize your multiplying. I'm going to multiply each column by row. So in this box, I have the 5x and the 3x. Well, 5 times 3 is 15, and x times x is x squared. Now if I move down, I'm in the 5x column, but the 2 row. So 5x times 2 is 10x. And now let's move over to this column. This is going to be an easy one because it's just a 1. 1 times 3x is just 3x. And then 1 times 2 is 2. And then we still want to combine any like terms. You'll notice a lot of times in the box method, your like terms are going to be on this diagonal. I have a 10x and a 3x. So I can combine those x's together. If I have 10 of them and 3 of them, now I have 13 of them. So writing our final answer, let's do it descending. So I want to get the biggest degree, which is our x squared. I'll have a 15x squared. And then it was like we had a 10x and a 3x and a 2. But again, we had those like terms here. So that 10 and 3x are going to become a 13x. So our final answer is 15x squared plus 13x plus 2. So if I had FOILed, I would have gotten the exact same answer. It's just a different way of doing it. So you can pick. You don't need to do both methods. Just pick which method is your favorite, foiling or box. But I'm going to do another box on this one just so we can see it again. So I have 2 by 2 again. So I'm going to do the 9x and then make sure to keep those negatives with it. That negative needs to go with that 2. And then we have 4x, and then again a negative 4, bring that minus with. And then times column to row, 4 times 9 is 36, x times x is x squared. Come down to this row, 4x times negative 2 is going to be a negative 8x. Move to this column, negative 4 times 9x will be a negative 36x. And then negative 4 times negative 2 will turn to a positive 8. So let's write all the terms out. We have a 36x squared, a minus 8x, a minus 36x, and then a positive 8. So again, we do have those like terms, and they are on the diagonal again. These are both just x's, so we can combine them. If I have negative 8 minus 36, that's going to be a negative 44x. And then we'll just keep the 36x squared in the front and the plus 8 in the back. And that's your answer. So again, that's the box method. Either method works. FOIL is great. Box method, also great. Pick whichever one's your favorite and just get good at that one. It doesn't matter. You really can just do whichever one. So just get good at one of them and that will be good enough. Hey, let's look at doing a binomial times a trinomial. So these ones, I do prefer the box method just because you're starting to get a lot of numbers here. You can still FOIL. It's just going to get kind of messy doing it to so many different parts. So I prefer the box method when you have a trinomial. So on this one, we need a 2 by 3. So I'm going to do 2 rows and 3 columns. So 1 line down the middle and then 2 lines this way. So I'm going to do the binomial going down the side. We have t and 2. And let's do the trinomial on the top. We have t squared plus 4t, and then bring that negative 3. Bring the minus with. So I think it's just going to be easier to keep everything organized when you have the box, when there's so many terms here. But we're just going to multiply again. T squared times t is t cubed. T squared times 2 is 2t squared. Come to this column, 4t times t is 4t squared. 4t times 2 is 8t. Negative 3 times t is just a negative 3t. And then negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And then you'll notice the bigger your starting problem is, the more you'll have like terms. And again, you'll see they usually follow the diagonals. Here's our t squareds and here's our t's. We can combine those, but let's write it all out. I have a t cubed, a 2t squared, a 4t squared, an 8t, a negative 3t, and a negative 6. So the t squareds we can combine. If I have 2 t squareds plus 4 t squareds, that gives me 6 t squared. So just add those numbers in the front. And then our t's we can combine. I have 8, and then I'm subtracting 3. So 8 subtract 3 is 5. So I have 5 t's. And then keep the t cubed in the front, and keep the negative 6. And then since these were both positive, they're just going to have pluses with them. So our answer is t cubed plus 6t squared plus 5t minus 6. So again, I just like that box method because it keeps all of it organized so you don't accidentally like forget something. So we have another 2 by 3. So I'm going to do 2 rows and 3 columns. 2 rows, 3 columns. So I'm going to do the 2t and then bring that negative with 3. And then 3t squared, 2t, and 5. So 3t squared times 2t, well 3 times 2 is 6, and t squared times t is t to the third. 3t squared times negative 3, well 3 times negative 3 is negative 9, and then we have the t squared still. 2t times 2t will be 4t squared. 2t times negative 3 will be a negative 6t. Then next column, 5 times 2t, well 5 times 2 is 10, so we get 10t, and then 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. I'm smearing my ink all over. So let's write all of our terms out. We have a 6t cubed, and then a negative 9t squared, positive 4t squared, a negative 6t, a positive 10t, and then a negative 15. So we do have like terms again, and as you'll see, they're usually on that diagonal, but we can combine them here. I have a negative 9t and a positive 4t. So look at those coefficients. Negative 9 plus 4 is going to be a negative 5t squared. And then we also have t's here that are like terms. So I can combine those. Looking at our coefficients, don't forget that negative. We have a negative 6 plus 10, which is positive 4t. And then we have our 6t cubed at the front still. And then our minus 15 at the back. And then because this 4t was positive, there will be a plus sign there. So let me write that a little bit neater. We have 6t cubed minus 5t squared plus 4t minus 15. And that would be your answer. Okay, so that was how you do a binomial times a trinomial. So again, I like the box method with that just because it keeps it so much more clean and organized. But you can FOIL if you want. So that is it for today. Hopefully you guys feel okay with that multiplying. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. You can email me or just message me through Canvas, but I am here to help. That's my job, so let me know if you do need some help. Go ahead and get going on your homework, and I will talk to you guys later. See ya.